I never thought I would see her like that. Not my wife. Not someone I had trusted with everything I had. Yet there she was, smiling into a camera, performing things that belonged to our marriage. Or so I thought, for someone else. Her ex. On video. It started as a quiet suspicion. I noticed her phone always tucked under her pillow, locked with a code she never shared. She laughed off my questions, called me paranoid, said I needed to focus on work, on life. But something in the way she avoided my gaze, the way her hand trembled when she typed, told me there was more. I am Michael. I have been married to Emily for 6 years. We have a house, 2 cats, a routine most couples envy. Or so everyone sees from the outside. The cracks had been there for a while, subtle at first. Missed kisses, cold shoulders, an unspoken distance that I kept ignoring because I loved her too much to admit the truth. But that night, alone in our bedroom, her phone buzzed with a message. It wasn't the usual notification from a friend or family. It was from an unknown number with a link. Curiosity overrode caution. I opened it. And everything fell apart. The video. Her ex's name flashing on the screen. The way she moved, the way she looked, so intimate, so personal. It wasn't just betrayal. It was humiliation, a complete violation of our marriage and my trust. I sat frozen, my mind racing. How long had this been happening? Was I just blind, or had she become that distant, cold woman I had been ignoring for years? I replayed the first few seconds over and over. Every subtle expression, every glance at the camera, screamed deceit. But beneath the shock, beneath the anger, a part of me, maybe the part that had known all along, started planning. Because in my life, betrayal isn't just endured. It's confronted. It's exposed. And Emily had crossed a line she would never forget. That night, I didn't yell. I didn't confront her immediately. I needed proof. I needed context. I started tracing messages, emails, social media interactions. Every thread, every deleted file, every subtle hint built the story in my mind. She had thought I would never notice. She had thought secrecy would shield her. She was wrong. The next morning, Emily acted as if nothing had happened. She poured coffee, smiled, and asked about my plans for the day. I kept my expression neutral, my mind racing with what I had discovered. She didn't know I had already saved copies of everything, screenshots, files, messages. Every piece of evidence was there, catalogued and undeniable. She thought she could pretend, but I had the upper hand. I am not a vengeful man by nature. I am meticulous, calculated, and betrayal demands precision. I began mapping out how to confront her in a way that left no room for lies, excuses, or manipulation. First, I needed to understand the full extent. I checked her social media, the deleted texts, old messages hidden in apps. The pattern was consistent, deliberate. She had been performing for him for months, perhaps even years, keeping her private life a staged illusion while I remained oblivious, faithful, and unsuspecting. As the hours passed, a strange calm washed over me. The initial surge of anger was giving way to clarity. Betrayal, as devastating as it is, becomes manageable once you know the truth. I decided I would confront her, but not in the heat of the moment. She needed to feel the weight of what she had done. And when the world knows what she did, there would be no hiding. By evening, I had everything ready. I created a secure folder, compiled the evidence, and reached out to people who mattered. Family, mutual friends, anyone who had been unwittingly caught in her deception. I didn't want to humiliate her for attention. I wanted her to see the consequences of her actions, to realize that secrecy can only protect betrayal for so long. That night, Emily came home, smiling and tired from work. She expected her usual routine, her evening cup of wine, the soft conversation we usually had. I greeted her calmly, leading her to the living room. "Emily," I said, voice even but firm. She looked at me, confused. I opened my laptop and placed it on the coffee table. "Do you want to explain this?" I asked, pointing to the evidence folder. Her face went pale. I saw the realization hit her slowly, her eyes widening as she recognized the videos, the messages, everything laid bare. For the first time, she was speechless. Not because she had been caught, but because she understood there was no hiding. No excuses would work, no tears would erase the truth. I remained silent, letting the weight of her actions speak louder than any words I could utter. Emily tried to speak, stammering, grasping at words that wouldn't come out. I didn't interrupt. The silence was enough. Every glance at the screen, every piece of evidence, hammered home the reality she had tried to hide. Pride, shame, and fear warred across her face. She realized that the life she had so carefully curated, the facade of a faithful, loving wife, was crumbling in front of her eyes. I watched, detached yet burning inside, as the truth settled in. Betrayal is a powerful thing, but exposure is even stronger. And I wasn't just exposing her for revenge. I was reclaiming my life, my dignity, my power. She had taken our intimacy, our trust, and our private world and turned it into something performative, something shared with someone else. Now, it was hers to confront, alone and unshielded. "You thought you could hide this forever," I said finally, my voice calm but carrying the weight of every hurt she had caused. She looked down, tears threatening, but I didn't soften. There was no reconciliation here, no begging or pleading. This was accountability. She had a choice: accept the consequences or continue pretending. And she chose silence. I gave her the screen, letting her see herself. Every movement, every glance at him, every intimate action, laid bare. The woman I had loved was still there, but someone else had occupied her. And the betrayal was undeniable. She tried to reach for an excuse, but there was none. Not a single message, no late-night text, no fleeting denial could undo the months of deceit. She could no longer pretend. She could no longer show her face to the people who mattered, the people who had trusted her. By the time the night ended, I had secured my position, my clarity. I had done what she had never considered. Confronted her with the undeniable truth, without losing myself to rage or chaos. And in that moment, a weight lifted from my shoulders. The marriage as I knew it was over, but my life, my peace, and my dignity were intact. Emily's choices had led her here, and she would have to live with the consequences. I left her with one final thought. Trust is the highest currency in any relationship. Once spent recklessly, once betrayed, it cannot be reclaimed by words alone. I had exposed the betrayal, I had faced the pain, and now, I could move forward, stronger, wiser, and unbroken. Emily would always remember this day, not because of anger, but because the truth has a way of leaving scars no one can ignore.